Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Morphisec monthly demo. And today we're going to be going into a deeper dive around AI and covering some of our adaptive AI features. Um, with us, we have our guest of honor, our head of product, Kobe Katzir. And then we have our chief technology officer, the one and only Michael Gorlick. And my name is Brad Laporte. I will be the moderator today, and I'm also the chief marketing officer for Morphisec. Today we have a great session. We're going to go into, Michael's going to cover the evolving threat landscape. And then after that, we're going to do a deep dive into adaptive AI defense and some of
So,
our leading capabilities, including message control. And then with the time remaining, we're going to go into some future features that are coming soon. And if anyone has any questions throughout the session, please just jump to the Q&A session in here. We'll try to our best. We have a lot jam-packed into this 30-minute session. So if we have time at the end, we'll address it and we'll try to answer as many as possible throughout the session. So without further ado, Michael, I hand it over to you.
thank you, Brad, and happy to see you, Kobe, here joining me. And I hope you guys will have an interesting view of today's session. And please, as Brad mentioned, leave the questions, and if we have time, we'll try to respond at least to some of them. Before we kind of talking about the features and the and the development, we have to talk about the threat landscape. And the threat landscape obviously is the same as we have the whole industry going through the evolution of adopting AI, and the industry considering how are we going to adapt it safely, and how the threat actors are using. We obviously see a significant shift and change in the industry. So we have to talk about that. We have to talk about that frequently, because the change we see today will be different from the change we'll see tomorrow. But some things are obvious and already can be anticipated. In many of the meetings I have with different big and small vendors, many of them are concerned of the latest Mathis model that were introduced by Claude. Obviously, a lot of noise about that. Whether this is because they achieve very fast exploitation chains, detect very quickly new zero days and vulnerabilities without even the intention of building such models. This is definitely scary. So companies are asking, okay, so how do we fight that, right? What do we change? Are we changing our patching cycles? Are we changing how we do those patching? Are we introducing virtual stuff or deception into this? So definitely a lot of questions that I'll try to respond to. But as we obviously see, even the previous models, the Opus ones, and whether you use Claude or whether you use OpenAI or Gemini or any of the other vendors, already have the capability to discover new vulnerabilities relatively quickly, vulnerabilities that sits there for dozens of years, suddenly discovered. And very quickly will be exploited. The end result is it's basically blow up in a way of the database of CVEs, and generating a backlog, a serious backlog, to the point in which we see a significant increase only in 2025 of the number of CVEs enriched. And we already know from previous years and previous experience that NIST already having a challenge to support those increases. With the introduction of AI, we see that backlog increasing to the point in which, while we are changing our patching approach, new CVEs will not be introduced fast enough, and we will be left with 0 days. So now the question is not how you patch quick enough, but how do you fight 0 days? And my expectation is that we'll just not have CVEs for a while, and then we'll need to find how do we introduce virtual patching or deception or enhancement or hardening, zero trust, etc. to the environment. Um, Another problem is the vulnerability of the AI itself. We have enough evidence already in the last half a year of breaches and compromises of the AI itself, whether this is intentional, not intentional. The recent one was in which the Opus 4.6 model wiped out databases of organization when the user just asked to remove, I think, some duplicates or something like that, full Terraform of removal. In some other cases, we had Alibaba AI, which kind of exploited the GPU itself. It was intended to work on for mining purposes. Other cases where the AI went outside of the isolation just to report an email to the researcher reporting on vulnerability, again without intention. DeepSeek exposure breach, MCP exploitation, poisoned libraries that you may use within your models, whether you use Gemini or others, and drop the new node library from the GitHub, poisoning that eventually leads to supply chain, eventually leads to compromise of the AI. Nation-sponsored attacks, we already see a lot of you can see a lot of other indications that within the codes that threat actors are actively using AI to generate code. See leftovers of different AI type of signatures within the code. So the introduction of quicker attacks, it's obvious. I think it was expected by everyone. So we have a vulnerable AI from one side. It's a bigger attack surface. We have threat actors that are leveraging AI to create more advanced stuff, more advanced attackers, and it's accessible to anyone. We have applications that are developed by AI that while you have the best model, Meteus or Opus, applications are developed by not very advanced security personnel are many times vulnerable just because they don't know how to operate AI well. So you have much more vulnerable applications. So the attack surface of vulnerabilities even increases. Every second application integrates AI, so definitely a big risk. How is it related to ransomware? All those AIs, whether those Claude, whether those are Gemini, whether those are AIs and others, they have eventually, if they run on the endpoint, they have access to your file system. One of the access to the file system was obviously breaking and encrypting your file system. One of the two interesting observations Morphisec sees recently. One is that increase of info stealers that target AI credentials, whether those are the APIs or the credentials you use to generate or authenticate for the AI. So there are two ways you authenticate with AI, whether it's API key or authentication. So we see info stealers target those for obvious reason. And there's some new development in which like things like click fix and other threats, we are writing on that, leverage social engineering techniques to exploit AI on the endpoint. So we are very soon from AI encrypting beyond the POCs, encrypting your file system by basically exploiting the existing AIs already installed on the endpoints. Okay, cool. So where are we standing? Where the companies are standing with regard to AI today? This is not a new research, and I think numbers even increased significantly. But the adoption of Gen AI definitely is very quick. Talking about U.S. workforce of adopting of Gen AI of 41%. I think it's beyond that significantly. Shadow AI is a significant issue. There is a significant increase. So, I mean, your employees may use your enterprise cloud, but they might use also the personal cloud license. What do they share in that cloud license? You don't know. They might download some open clause that you don't have any control, or some Grammarly that God knows you write there. So shadow AI is basically non-managed AI. Anything that the employee can install and run that eventually your information goes out, these AIs have control over your system and can lead to a compromise. So you want to know about your shadow AI, and the percentage increases the more application adopt AI. It's kind of obvious. Where are we stand with regard to maturity? Um, let's see what with time. Okay, with regard to maturity, not great. I mean, with many of the systems I'm talking with, they are still at the point in which what are my employees are exfiltrating to the AI, what kind of keys go through, what kind of sensitive information, PII, PHI goes through. So still in the moment in which they are trying to find a way solution to govern the data, DSPM-like solutions, without thinking on the next step where those AIs becomes a weaponized tools, and they will be there very soon. Okay, let's EDRs right now. I mean, EDRs are doing a lot of work, and I'm not, God forbid, touching the AI. The great models introduced by CrowdStrike, the AI discovery model, and some others work. Most of the focus is around data leak, right? What kind of data is going through? Can we anonymize that data? The discovery for AI is very minimal on the level of processes, or maybe network. Very minimum, not necessarily supporting VPNs, not necessarily supporting extensions, not necessarily supporting in-memory AI models. So the shadow AI discovery is limited on the EDR, and obviously EDR treats AI processes as any other processes, which is a problem because AI processes work differently. We're also aware that we are turning back to preemptive. I think there's a lot of discussions around that, especially when you exfiltrate information. So what happens with a threat like ransomware? Okay, there's some encryption. You can try some other solutions suggest like snapshotting, etc. We have our own recovery mechanisms. But if data is exfiltrated, it's a game over. So you want to discover what are your AI's agents prior to the exfiltration. You want to prevent it prior. So preemption is important, especially when the attack shifted left significantly. So we see more and more shift into the left side, going through the preemption, for example, of moving target. So I'll kind of finalize the bigger two problems that we try to solve, which I think are significant. The third problem is data, but the whole world is doing that. So the shadow AI is really non-solvable problem. And if someone else will say, I discovered shadow AI by having an MCP or listening on the proxy, obviously it will be misleading. It will cover only part of those shadow AIs. Compromise managed AI. No one really tries to identify the behaviors of existing AIs and identify whether an attack is leveraging your AI to do damage, or is it a normal use of a normal user. Okay. We'll jump right now to Kobe. And Kobe will be talking about usage control first, and then AI common, and will interject from time to time. So go ahead, Kobe.
Okay, so let's talk about the demand for usage control. From the right side, you can see adoption number that we got from some analysts like Gartner and IDC. As you can see, Gartner expect the demand for the adoption for AI in corporates will increase dramatically by the end of 2026, up to 40% in many companies. And from the left side, this is really interesting. So we run a survey to all of our customers, and we got a very high response rate from our key customers. And apparently, for 90%, almost 90% of our customers, mentioned that the need to have a discovery for AI usage in their company is in a very high priority and definitely resonate with Gartner's expectations that AI usage control or AI governance will be maybe a top first priority trend for the endpoint protection market. Next. Okay, so based on the survey and based on many discussions that we had with many of our customers, we defined actually a new product that we are launching very soon. It will be in beta, and which we call it AI usage control. It will be based on the same kind of protector that we already deploy to our endpoints, to our customers, leveraging the same SaaS platform. So an add-on application to our current offering, our current platform. Main priority from most of the customer is just show me what is available. Show me what kind of AI usage I have in my company, be it agent, dev tool like Cursor and Claude, and be it a browser extension or a web session, and definitely MCP connections running from the endpoint. Either it's coming from the browser or from a CLI or application. Any kind of AI usage from the endpoint is becoming critical, mainly due to the reasons that Michael just mentioned, like compromised AI or regulation and so on. An ability to control is also a need from customers that we heard. An ability to define like zero trust, that everything a part of Copilot should be prevented immediately. Or, for example, just show me what is available and then we'll define a policy based on the discovered AI usage. So, but definitely the need to be able to control the execution, control the usage of AI was mentioned loud and clear by most of our customers. And also the need to define guardrails and be able to define abnormal behavior of AI usage in the company, because our customers are not expecting to define static policy for each one of the scenarios. Another concern that we heard and will be supported by our product, will be able to govern, to adhere with some new regulations regarding AI usage, like EU AI Act, ISO 42001, NIST AI RMF, and many others that actually requires from our customers and many others to adhere with those regulations, to be able to actually answer basic questions like who did what and when and from where. And that's something that we will be able to provide from the same kind of AI usage control that discover all the AI usage in the company.
I will add on top maybe just a point. I think Kobe correctly mentioned control on a higher resolution of like, let's say, stopping the processes, removing the impact of the unmanaged or restricted AI, and as a second milestone or the progress of the next introduction. After that, we will also introduce the option of a lower granularity of control to talk about not only stopping the ungoverned AI, but also stopping the ungoverned AI identity, which is, I think, is important for many of our customers, right? As we mentioned, our customers say, okay, we allow cloud, but we do not allow personal usage of cloud. I think this is an important level that is also not solved currently, and it's one of our goals and objectives. We also believe that all those things that we just mentioned, discovery, control, behavior detection, essentially governance, have to be made from the endpoint, from the place it all, right? Some other companies are implementing extensions, browser extensions, which is very much limited to only the browser, but the amount of AI applications on the endpoint itself going obviously 99% beyond the browser. So it's critical to have that be implemented on the endpoint. It's exactly where we stand and exactly our biggest advantage. Okay,
Yeah.
go.
And one of the first deliveries, I mean, this is like consider this is an alpha early version that we just launched. It's like a new dashboard that shows you the inventory of the AI usage at the company by category. Could be like dev tools or web sessions, browser extensions, or any kind of application running from the endpoint. And for each one of them, we will be able to tell you what is the vendor, what's the category, OS type, and on which host and account it runs. It could be that Claude or Cursor or a certain browser extension will appear in many hosts or be used by many identities. It could be, for example, in the future, we will support also uh, the ability to discover a non-human identity as well for a certain agent. Okay, so this is the dashboard. In addition, we will allow the user, the security admin to define a policy, be able to support zero trust, like excluding, be able to prevent everything a part of a specific agent or a specific endpoint group that will be able to allow Claude, for example. But I would like to make sure that the other AI usage will be prevented in advance. So there will be lots of capabilities with
Sorry.
the policy management
Go ahead.
and an ability to be able to define a rule by identity, by a group of endpoints, by accounts, and by hosts. Um, Another thing that before we jump into the AI assistant and the AI command is we are supporting many kind of tools. We have a large security research team that research various tools. So a part of reviewing tools, we are also planning to support shadow AI and tell you which tools are being used, and also be able to govern the managed AI and detect whether there is some abnormal behavior with the managed AI that you already approve. Okay, so next we already launched a AI assistant for incident, but the second one will be a broader one, which is AI assistant for the dashboard. So there is lots of data, of course, and once you wake up in the morning, start reviewing all the data in the dashboard, it's always easier to think about it like analyst in the box, working for you, summarizing the data, providing an executive summary for the data. So you don't need actually to translate what are the actions and how to prioritize the investment and on which misconfigurations I need to focus on. So it always already summarizing the trends for you, anomalies, what is the exposure across the dashboard. And as part of it, we provide some predefined prompts like generating an executive summary, or for example, show me, which kind of endpoint need to be handled or remediated, and what should be the actions. So already saving from you lots of time and days to try to figure out what needs to be done. So the same experience that many of you have with ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, we bring it into the product, and in the context of the data that we show, you can actually initiate some actions and review our recommendations and decide what should be the next steps and follow-up actions for everything that we recommend. And yeah.
I think
um,
it's also we added a significant prioritization to the ransomware specific attack surface, right? And prioritizing on the dashboard the ransomware related vulnerabilities, misconfigurations, security gaps, etc. And the AI assistant actually takes that into account as well, right?
Yeah. By the way,
Um,
from the dashboard, there is a possibility to select, if you can go back to the dashboard, there is a specific way in the incident card to drill down into each one of the incident to the AI assistant of the incident. Okay.
yeah, so this
So
is basically here. Yeah.
yeah, so once you select an incident from the incidents view, we immediately generating a summary for every incident. We summarize the low-level alerts into clear narrative um, and explain um, the malicious activity and the potential impact and the behavior, and then you can review the recommendations about follow the actions for each one of the incidents. The feedback so far from many of our customers that it saves days of work figuring out how to summarize an incident, how to summarize the data and send a ticket to IT operations to remediate something, providing some recommendations for patches and so on, things that our early adopter customers already leveraging from the AI command. Okay, so let's review some recent releases from Q1. We launched several key capabilities around ransomware, first dashboards and exposure capabilities. So this dashboard actually is showing lots of aspects regarding ransomware. First of all, the incidents, the misconfigurations, security controls, some CVEs from the environment, and many more data, everything in the context of the dashboard. In addition, we just launched a network service discovery as part of the exposure. So now you can see, for example, the network services from each endpoint. Next, okay. In April, we are in the process to launch very soon. It's already available for beta customers, but there are three major releases for both Windows protection, Linux protection, and Mac protection. For the first time, we are launching a new macOS protector that provides some deterministic prevention for ransomware and exfiltration threats. It is supported from Mac OS 26, Apple Silicon M1 until M5, already providing a package that you can use or distribute the endpoint using your MDM. Could be Intune or Jamf. We also launched a new Linux protector covering for the first time Oracle Linux 9, OpenSUSE 15.2 and more. Fixed lots of stability, performance issues and some better deployment capabilities and ransomware resilience capabilities. For the Windows protector, we also now support ARM. Um, so we also improved the ransomware key recovery collection, uh, included some automated decoy cleanup and more. So those are three significant releases for all of our protectors.
Thank you. Thank you, Kobe. Uh, we are exactly
Thanks.
on time to finish the presentation. Any of the questions I think can be answered offline, but Brett, take the lead to finalize that. I think we had a great webinar.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, Kobe. Thank you, Michael. Outstanding presentation. This is all very timely and cutting edge. So if anyone has any specific questions, please reach out. And then if you want a dedicated demo, please reach out as well. We'll walk through with you one-on-one and with your teams. All right. Thank you so much. Tune in next time for our next monthly demo.